Hello everybody. We have to continue in chapter 1. We are on 1.4 with subtraction with real numbers. This section won't take very long at all. When we subtract real numbers, one way that we can do this is we can add the opposite of the second number. So we do this because we can utilize what's called the commutative property of addition. Less errors are made, especially when we deal with different signs. Okay, so this is just a general broad example. If you were given a minus b, one way that we can do the subtraction would be to change the subtraction to addition, and you're adding a negative b. So sometimes it's easier to deal with subtraction with making it addition because we can think of adding numbers a little bit easier. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a couple examples. For example, we know how to do 7 minus 4, right? 7 minus 4 is 3. We know this, okay? If we were to use this property, we have 7. We would change the subtraction to addition and change 4 to a negative 4. So this is now 7 plus negative 4, which still gives us a positive 3, okay? I just wanted you to see an example of that. All right, now where this changes a little bit is when we're dealing with both of them being negative, or one being negative, one being positive. So for example, if we were given negative 7 minus 4, this is where I see the mistakes made on the homework and the test with the signs, okay? This is negative 7 minus 4. If we apply our property, it's much easier to know what our answer is. So we're keeping our negative 7. We're going to change the subtraction to addition. And now we're adding the negative, so now we have negative 4. So it's much easier now to know how to do negative 7 minus 4 because we're doing negative 7 plus negative 4, which gives us negative 11. Okay, so that helps and makes that much easier. You may also see this something written as 7 minus negative 4 that's in parentheses, okay? We're going to use that same property, so we keep our 7, change subtraction to addition. Now this time I have a negative 4. Now a negative and a negative become positive. So this now becomes 7 plus 4 to end up with a positive 11. Okay, so that's where this rule really comes in handy with making sure that you get the right answer. Okay. You may also see an example like negative 7 minus a negative 4. Well, there's a lot of negatives going on, right? Plus the subtraction. So this can get really tricky. We're going to keep the negative 7. This subtraction becomes addition. And now we have that negative 4, which means both of those are going to cancel. Two negatives cancel and become positive. So this is now negative 7 plus a positive 4, which leaves us with a negative 3. And remember, we dealt with the addition in the last section. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes a little more sense. If we were given, we'll just do a couple more of those. We know how to do 6 minus 4, right? 6 minus 4 we know is 2. If we were given negative 6 minus 4, okay, we need to use our property up here. So we're going to have our negative 6. We're going to change the subtraction to addition and add the negative. So this is now negative 6 plus negative 4, which gives us our negative 10. Okay. Let's say we were given 6 minus negative 4. We want to apply our property, so we keep our 6. Subtraction becomes addition. Now I have a negative and a negative becomes positive. So this answer becomes a positive 10. And let's say we were given negative 6 minus a negative 4. We want to use our property, so we're going to keep the negative 6. Subtraction becomes addition. And now I have a negative and a negative becomes a positive 4. So now I have negative 6 plus 4 to end up with that negative 2. And like I said, if you're having trouble with the addition part, review the last lecture video. We went all over this. Okay? So I hope that makes a little more sense. It just helps when you're dealing with negative numbers and subtraction, okay? So let's do some examples where we might have to apply a little bit of order of operations, okay? So remember, order of operations, we start with Pemdas, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? Parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division as it occurs from left to right, and addition or subtraction as it occurs from left to right. So we need to handle the addition first, okay? So this is 4 plus -2, which leaves us with +2 minus 3. Now you may know that 2 minus 3 is -1. If so, great. If you're unsure, use our property. So we keep the 2, we change the subtraction to addition, and we add the negative, okay? So now I have the -3. So 2 plus -3 is -1, okay? Let's go ahead and look at 9 minus 4 minus 5. So we have a lot of subtraction going on here. We're gonna take the subtraction as it comes from left to right. So 9 minus 4, we know how to do that. That's 5. So now I have 5 minus 5. Hopefully you know that 5 minus 5 is 0. If not, you can apply that property of adding the negative and see that 5 plus -5 is 0. Okay, whatever works for you. Let's do a couple order of operations with this property that are a little longer. Let's do -3 minus the quantity of -5 plus 1, and then we're going to do a -6, okay? Order of operations, parentheses. As we can see, we have a set of parentheses in here. We need to handle what is in those parentheses first. So we need to do -5 plus 1. And remember, we need to write everything else down. You had this also in other sections. So -5 plus 1 gives us a -4. We still have our -6. Remember, we're going to keep this in parentheses for right now, just because we don't know what's happening in front of the parentheses, okay? Now we're going to handle the subtraction. So this is a -3 minus a -4. So if we apply our property, this is -3 plus a negative and a negative becomes a +4 minus 6. So now I'm doing -3 plus 4 is a +1 minus 6. We can also apply that property again by adding the negative. So now I have 1 plus -6 to end up with -5. Okay? All right, let's look at 2 more order of operations, and that is all this section is, okay? And then you're done. So we have 3 times 9 minus 4 times 10 minus 5 times 11. So order of operations, no parentheses, no exponents, so now we're looking for multiplication or division, which we have, and it actually occurs 3 times in this problem. So we can do 3 times 9 is 27, minus 4 times 10 is 40, minus 5 times 11 is 55, okay? Now we can handle the subtraction, and we're going to do what comes first. So 27 minus 40, we're going to go ahead and apply our property. So we're going to do 27 plus a -40, so we're adding the negative. So 27 plus 40 ends up being a -13. So remember, you can take the larger number, which is 40, subtract 27 to get 13, and then you keep the sign of the larger number, which is 40. It's negative, so you keep the negative, okay? So now I have that -13 minus 55. Same thing, we're going to apply our property. So this is adding the negative. So now I have -13 plus -55. So I know my answer is going to be negative because they're both negative, and I'm adding. So I'm going to add 13 and 55 to get a -68 for our answer. Okay? All right, let's do one more of those. So let's do 3 times 2 to the 4th minus 5 times 3 minus 4 squared times 2. Okay? Order of operations, we're looking for parentheses. We don't have any, so we move on to exponents. Well, I have 2 to the 4th and 4 squared. So we're going to go ahead and handle this first. So I have 3 times 2 to the 4th. So remember, you're doing 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 gives us 16 minus 5 times 3 minus 4 squared. 4 times 4, 16 times 2. Okay? Order of operations. Now we're looking for multiplication or division. I have multiplication here, multiplication here, multiplication here we're going to handle. So I'm doing 3 times 16 gives us 48, minus 5 times 3 is 15, minus 16 times 2 is 32. Okay, now we're looking at addition, subtraction. I have subtraction, so we're going to handle what comes first. 48 minus 15 you should be able to do, right, rather easily to get 33 minus 32. If you wanted to add the negative, you could, or you don't have to because we can easily do 33 minus 32 to get 1. But like I said, if you wanted, you could have added the negative here and added the negative here. You still would have ended up with the same answer of a positive 1. Okay, so that's a rather short section. If you have questions, please let me know. If you have questions about some of the addition or the order of operations, look at some of our last lecture videos. All right, thanks guys.